What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back with another think tank type video. Something that has been on the minds of a lot of fans as we roll up to the end of the season here. Um, is what is our QB situation looking like going forward? Obviously, these past two games we have gotten a good look at Desmond Ritter and what he might bring to the table. Now, going into Sunday's game, obviously against Arizona, you hope to see another step forward, another progression from Desmond Ritter. Hopefully, we see a touchdown. We haven't seen a touchdown from him yet, so maybe this week it finally changes. But each week during our live streams, we tend to end up getting on, that QB subject, that QB topic. And it's something that I have obviously been thinking about quite a bit here lately. And the name that keeps popping up more than any other name is obviously Lamar Jackson. Now, this comment I pulled from our live stream because it kind of encapsulates uh, what I have been thinking about these QBs going forward. Now, Willie Doc's question here, obviously, or statement was, the issue with Lamar Jackson is staying healthy an entire season, and two, him being productive in the second half. Now, the second half part, I'm not really going to get into much tonight as far as like Lamar Jackson himself goes, but it's the first part of that statement is, Lamar Jackson staying healthy. Now, that is a concern of mine, not just with Lamar Jackson, but with the particular type of QB that we're talking about here. And what I mean by that is the QB that has a propensity to run first or run more often than throw. Okay, or not more often. Like, I'm trying not to paint this in a particular brush. Okay, but when you have guys, right now in the league, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, and until he got benched, Marcus Mariota. These guys, as soon as something really broke down, they were trying to take off running. Or even uh not worse than that, but you also have like design QB run plays. They do it up in Buffalo with Josh Allen. I myself am not a huge fan of that because it unnecessarily puts your QB in harm's way. Now, why is that such a big deal? The QB is the most important position on the field to a point where you invest the most money in it, and the rules have been tailored to keep the QB upright and to keep the QB in the game. Okay. So the fact that you have a particular QB play style that lends itself to putting the QB in harm's way more often than not, to me, hasn't ended well. Okay. Let's go back and look at, Mike Vick, one that kind of like the modern era quarterback that broke that mold. Yes, you had Steve Young back in the day, and yes, you had Fran Tarkenton who ran around a lot, but Mike Vick really, took that to the next level. Um, and those guys, they tend to like they tend to want to use their legs, to extend the play, to make a play, and that's exciting for us as fans. I love watching that style of QB. But that style of QB's longevity isn't hasn't been proven yet. Not necessarily like, Cam Newton is one of the latest examples of, you dealt with a career 50 something percent passer rating because of what he gave you on the ground and what he was able to give you in at goal line and short yardage situation. He was almost unstoppable, but started taking big hits, a lot of big hits, and not getting the protection because of the fact that, a referee was like, well, I don't know if he's about to take off running. So these running quarterbacks end up having a gray area of whether they get the protection afforded to a more mobile, like drop back style quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong here. I don't want to be putting out the wrong vibe, I guess you could say. I don't want a stationary, mobile drop back quarterback. The game has evolved well past that. Okay. The game has evolved to you need a guy who can extend plays, who can break contain. Like that's where this league is headed. But what I'm looking for is a guy more in the mold of a Patrick Mahomes. Like he can do it and he will do it when necessary, but that's not his second option. You see what I'm saying? Like Patrick Mahomes' first option generally is Travis Kelsey. Like if we're just talking about in the receiving pecking order of the Chiefs, then it's like, Mecole Hardman and whoever else is out there is your second and third option. And then the fourth option is him taking off and picking it up with his legs. That's the mode that I want. That's kind of what I've always said. It's like prime Jay Cutler, prime Aaron Rodgers in the aspect of mobility. I want them to have mobility. I want them to be able to, hurt you with their legs when need be. But I don't want that to be a major facet of their game. Because when it's a major facet of their game, they tend to rely on it as a second option, as almost a second read. It's if my guy isn't open, if the play design isn't open, I take off and run. I'm not a big fan of that type of play style. I know a lot of people are, and I know it's fun and it's exciting. And like I said, it's where the league is heading as far as QB play goes. You watch anything on Saturday, with a college game, and almost every quarterback is mobile in that sense. But I want a more heads up, a more headsy mobile quarterback, which I think we have in Ritter. Don't know. Jury's still out big time. Like he can pick up the yardage, but I want a QB who's looking to throw first, who's looking and willing to make those progressions and make those reads. I'm not saying that, like I said, I don't want y'all to think that I'm not saying that Lamar just because that was the clip that I brought up to begin with. The point that I was trying to make out of that comment was Lamar has done missed 11 straight practice or not practices, but like 11 days up there in Baltimore. He's going on his like fourth or fifth game. He missed 5 games last season. So that's at least 10 games in the past 2 seasons that he's missed. Same thing with Deshaun Watson down there in Houston. He got hurt, before. Now I believe they had a bad O line. I'm not 100% familiar with Houston when Watson was there. But look at Jalen Hurts dealing with a shoulder injury. Look at Justin Fields, only his second year. He's already been nicked up quite a bit. So, I mean, Russell Wilson, almost perfect example. Now, Russell, I don't know. Like, he wasn't necessarily a run first. Like, he was more in the vein of scramble to keep a play alive if need be, but he was looking to take shots downfield, prime Seattle days. But my concern ends up being like if we were to get a Lamar Jackson here in Atlanta, do we only get him, you know, 12 games out of the year? Is that worth $250 million guaranteed? Like fully guaranteed? Like some people are going to feel like, oh, he gets here and he'll be fine, he'll be healthy. I don't know, dude. I know every player is one play away, but when the rules are designed to keep you healthy and to keep you upright, and you are then doing things that allow people to lay those big hits on you, your chances go down a lot more. What's the average lifespan of a running back in the NFL? Like 3 to 5 years. So same deal. You're throwing yourself in harm's way that many times, it's eventually going to catch up to you. So that's my thoughts on that. I went a little bit longer than I wanted to. I'm not saying that I don't want Lamar here. I I would love to have Lamar Jackson here. He's an electric player. But I want a quarterback whose third or fourth option is to take off and run, not necessarily their second option. As always, Falcons fan, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. You can follow Toby, TobyD1991. I still don't remember Jonathan's Twitter right off the top of my head. I'm going to remember it. But uh, he's Falcons Brotherhood, if I'm not mistaken, or Falcons _ Brotherhood. I'll link it in the show notes because I'm butchering it. Anyway, keep your eye on the channel. We'll probably have a prediction video out on Sunday, and then we'll be back live on Tuesday. But as always, Falcons fans, rise up.